now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who, disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Walter on iWalter on Sunday at 11:30. It's almost Monday morning at this point. It is September 20th. It's hard to believe this month's almost over. And then I have a whole bunch planned for October. There's certain things I guess I'm not going to be able to do. It's just going to be too expensive. But yeah, I did see something. I lined up a couple stories. I'm just going to get this one out because it's really cool. Let me turn off my speaker. I just had it open. It said that Disney to release original Star Wars theatrical version. So that's really cool. I just bought them on DVD. I think they mean in the movie theater, I guess. But this was on ikwiz.com. It was actually posted yesterday. While not officially confirmed yet, Empire Magazine reports that Hollywood director, producer, and screenwriter John Landis revealed as much as this much in a Q&A in Orlando, Florida. A tweet from Empire's official account broke the news, saying that the Q&A tonight, John Landis dropped that Disney are finally going to re-release the theatrical cuts of the original Star Wars trilogy. They followed up with explaining, apparently George Lucas mentioned it when they last spoke. Somebody put "You noob" on, let the celebration commence. And I just bought all these films, so hopefully, I assume they mean not only that the theatrical is going to be released, I'm sure they're going to put them in the theaters, but if they release them, I guess I would buy them again, because maybe they'll be on Blu-ray or something as well. So that's very cool. It actually has a picture on this article of Harrison Ford, and he's holding up a sign that says "I shot first" with an exclamation point. I think it's pretty funny. Anyway, yeah, actually last night was, or actually earlier this morning, I can still say that, I got up because I went to bed a little earlier. I was so tired last night. That's why I did not do a show. I just could not stay awake at a certain point. So I went to bed early, and then I ended up waking up and was like, crap, I forgot. Maybe it's up on iTunes now. It was Star Trek, Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, all the same thing to me, I guess, huh? It was actually Star Wars is what I wanted to mention. The new episode for the new Series 9, as they put it, just came out. So I watched it. It was like, at first, it was like, okay, this is too good to be true. It actually looks really good. But I always hold, my expectations for the new Doctor Who very low, knowing that they're going to mess up something, and they don't disappoint me on that, trust me. They do not disappoint me at all. So, I watched it and was like, wow, this is really cool. And here, the premise of the thing was, I don't think I'll ruin it for anybody who listens to me, because there's only a handful of people anyway. This producer that we have now, he's like, claims he watches old Doctor Who's, but the stuff he makes is just really horrible. So I don't understand the two. But he kind of reflected on showing little screenshots of old episodes. Tom Baker, John Pertwee, Sylvester McCoy, you name it, that had involved dialects, which dialects were actually in all the actors who played Doctor Who. The only one that didn't have one character, which was Cybermen, and all versions, adaptations, whatever you want to call it, of Doctor Who was the Cybermen. But the Daleks always seemed to gleam through. They were always a very popular character. My computer just froze up, folks. I don't want to have to freeze things because of a computer freezing up. So anyway, and it was pretty interesting. They were going with this concept that went back to Genesis of the Daleks with Tom Baker, where Tom Baker gives a spiel. It's a very famous spiel from Doctor Who in Genesis, where he basically says to Davros, was the introduction to this character of Davros in that episode, if you're given a chance, like when he had the chance to destroy all the Daleks, he said, you had the capability basically of killing a child. I think he was referring to actually Adolf Hitler. If you could kill that child as a child, knowing that the child was going to grow up and cause mass destruction on a large scale, would you be able to kill that child if given the chance? Well, they made that small speck of what Tom Baker said into a whole, now it's going to be 2-part episode on the new Series 9 that just started on last night. So I watched it early this morning on iTunes, and it was like, okay, yeah, this seems familiar. And it was like, okay, yeah, they're taking Tom Baker's stand, and this time the Doctor accidentally goes back into time where we're on Skaro, which I didn't recognize because they made it look different again, and he goes back and actually had the chance that could have changed Davros's life. He sees Davros as a little kid, a little boy, before he becomes all that mutated in a wheelchair type thing or half Dalek machine that he's in. And he was given the chance to either, the chance he had mentioned with Tom Baker's version of Doctor Who, he had the chance to kill or let live Davros, and he just decided, well, you know what? I'm going to let him in this middle of this kind of minefield to die. So obviously Davros did not die, and he was hoping it would change time, because the whole thing, premise about Doctor Who is he doesn't kill anybody, especially innocent little children. But in this case, he made the decision, well, maybe this would be the chance. This kid won't be able to make it out of his minefield. And, Davros will finally die, which would destroy all the Daleks because they would never have been created. Well, it sounds like a really good concept, but the way it was executed, as my one friend would probably say, Matt, using the word executed, it was really kind of not that great. I would say it was not really poorly done, but it wasn't done very well. So the bottom line is it looked interesting. The ideas were pretty interesting. I mean, you're taking a grain of an idea, and now he changed it into a 2-part storyline. And it's like, okay, you're kind of really milking it at that point. I mean, yeah, everything starts with a single strand or one individual idea. But the way he developed it was not that good, actually. I don't think. It wasn't that bad. But honestly, the new Doctor Who's, I kind of could say that was like that since day one, even with Christopher Eccleston. But Eccleston, he really did not know anything about Doctor Who. He wasn't a big fan, so I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt. I was like, this guy's just doing it as a job. He kind of said that, too. He put his own niche in, not knowing anything about Doctor Who at all. But it's more so now that it looks like the new Doctor Who's remind me of the 3 years I hated Doctor Who the most, which was with Sylvester McCoy, because those were like just loud incidental music, kind of like something that was done on a drum machine with Sylvester McCoy. And the episodes, each and every one of them, I tried to like suffer through ones I didn't originally watch of Sylvester McCoy, and I hate to say it, those episodes were horrendous. They were all really bad. I couldn't even say one that I liked to Sylvester McCoy. But I gave him the benefit of the doubt because I thought this is the only way we, can have Doctor Who survive. Well, apparently there was people who did like it a lot. But he was the only person back in the 80s that they've ever had seen. Sylvester McCoy. Let me see when he was on. I should have got this up. Alrighty, yeah. Sylvester McCoy his first episode was November 20. Oh wait, that's not right. November 23rd, 1963. Yes, that's not what I was looking for. Actually, I was actually looking for Seventh Doctor. Maybe this will help. They should give his dates. Okay. It looks like this September 7th, 1987. Till 27th of May, 1996. So he did, but he only did 3 seasons. So how's it so long? I guess they were spread out pretty far. Portrayed Sylvester McCoy, says tenure, September 7th, 1980. Oh, you know why? Yeah, he did only do 3 years. 1987, 1988 to 89, and 1989, because he returned for the American adaptation of Doctor Who, to relive the part of Doctor Who just to have enough time to regenerate, which happened in 1996. That was on Fox. It was a Fox movie that they made they were going to try to reboot Doctor Who in the U.S., and it kind of bombed. It did not do well at all. So, so technically I was correct. It was actually somewhere in the 80s, but it was 87 to 89, actually. That's technically only 2 years. Well, let's see, 87, 88, 89. No, that's 3 years. I apologize about my math. But, I couldn't stand Sylvester McCoy. Well, he was a real clown to begin with, the character that he played. Not him, but he played it like a clown, like... I understand because technically Patrick Troughton did the same thing. He played it as a galactic hobo, they called him. But his was actually a lot more interesting because he was very serious and you could understand what the man said. There has been other actors who played Doctor Who are Scottish, but I believe he was... not only Scottish, Sylvester McCoy, but he had a really thick accent, and you couldn't understand anything he said, and it was just horrible all the way around, honestly. So I can't say much good, and the new series just seems to be going that direction. The actors they pick are a lot better choices than they did with Sylvester McCoy, but just the way it's been laid out, the episodes are just really bad. Now, I will give credit, the actor they got to play and the way they made him up and the makeup of Davros looked incredible. Like, Davros really looked, for once, not like a rubber mask, but like a real person that has been mutated or, mutilated. So that I give him credit for. They tried to incorporate, because that kind of caught my eye, the original dialect, which were gray and a baby blue for those balls around the dialect bottom. They got the slogan of being pepper shakers. So they incorporated all the different versions of the dialects in this particular episode, where they're all back on Skaro as Davros is dying. So the makeup was great. The dialects looked excellent because they had all the different versions of the dialects on this particular episode. But again, it just was very campy. Now, it depends. Some people will like this because it looked like the new producer, which I don't know if I should look up his name. Maybe I will. And I will explain why I picked my theme for tonight for the beginning of the show, Doctor. Hopefully they won't pick up John Nathan Turner because I hated that man. Oh, yeah, it's Stephen Moffat. He's the new guy. Not Muppet, but Moffat. He's the new producer of the show. He's not bad. I saw him in person years ago. He's a very nice man, trust me. I can't say that when I mentioned the other man, but thank God. Anyway, what was I going to say, though? Stephen Moffat says he loves the original show, but he doesn't presenting in any episode he's made so far of the new Doctor Who. In fact, they're all really bad. No offense to him, but they are horrible. So that's a disappointment. That being said, I lost my train of thought, folks, so I apologize. I'm just going to make sure this is running still, too. For some reason, my computer not running as friendly as it usually does. This episode kind of reminded me of, he has, it seems like more of a likeness. It seems that way to me. I'm not saying this is like I can prove it, but I just would mention this to a friend. It reminds me a lot of like, Douglas Adams' way of, the way he would present things. Now, Douglas Adams did do some Doctor Who's. He did one in particular was called The Pirate Planet, but he also did Shada that was actually, there was an actor strike, so it never got finished. He, I should see what else he did, because now I'm kind of curious. But if you, it's not more as so on how Douglas Adams did his episodes of Doctor Who. They did have a twist, but they actually did have a story. So let me look this up, because he's deceased now, unfortunately. A great writer, though, Douglas Adams. He had passed away in 2001. He was an alcoholic, too, so most of it... He wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, which I read the original books. I read all of the original books. I did not read the ones that were kind of written from stuff they scrounged together after he passed away, because those I just had no interest in. But apparently he had enough material to write other books, and they kind of like found a way to make more money off his series of books. And now, I'm not a good reader. I could read those books because they were really entertaining. But the point is, the books were very slapstick, very humorous, take everyday things and turn it into something science fiction. Like everything, including a mattress. Because there was an example in one of the Douglas Adams books that he said everything is grown or is one time a live species of some sort. And again, like mattresses you lay on, he said there's a planet where mattresses go, live freely on the planet, and then they are slaughtered for people and to sleep on. So, yeah, he made humor out of everything. Well, the new Doctor Who is in that direction of that kind of really campy type humor all the time. Let me just see what he did on Doctor Who. I think I mentioned the main ones he did. Because I know there was a few episodes they actually probably going to mention. The Pirate Planet in Shada and City of Death. They said he co-wrote City of Death for producer Graham Williams, who was really a good producer at the time. But yeah, it's got that humor on the show of Doctor Who right now, and I think I see this here. It says, having started his career as a contributor and an occasional bit player for Marty Python's Flying Circus. Yeah, I could kind of see that in the new Doctor Who. That's the first thing that came to mind, because they had some campy thing in the beginning where the Doctor kind of goes in recluse, I guess is the word. Maybe I'm using the wrong word. That he basically isolates himself. Not really, but he ends up in the Middle Ages. And he kind of updates people that he shouldn't, because you're changing the timeline now. Back in the Renaissance period, or no, was it the Renaissance period? It was like the Middle Ages, in a castle where he kind of hides out. He teaches people to say the word dude. He also teaches them how to be entertained, and he shows them a modern time warfare tank, and also uses an electric guitar to entertain these people. Now, that is really just weird and off the wall, but that is something I would expect more if he was still alive, that Douglas Adams would kind of do something that off the wall. Now, Douglas Adams never did that kind of risky stuff when he wrote the stuff he wrote for, or was responsible for on Doctor Who. He made sure to tame it down enough. Now, give or take, because some people will probably disagree, because if you actually looked at the Pirate Planet, that kind of shows a different light, because the Pirate Planet actually has pirates that are using planets to, basically these pirates will drain the planets. They take their ship and they put it around the entire planet, suck it dry, but then they also go into the orbit of that planet. But again, that's a little bit extreme, but it was executed very well. It was really well put together. But you know what? That's different. I mean, the stuff that they're doing with Doctor Who now it looks like they're wannabe. I don't know how else to put it. Like a wannabe Douglas Adams, and it's not really what I would call done very well. So I'm almost afraid at this point that it's going to go into the same direction it did before, where eventually it's going to probably just be going near being canceled. And now, again, I don't know if I mentioned this, but Peter Capaldi said it's taken a toll on his family life. So that's another issue too. And eventually what's going to end up happening is they're going to end up maybe not replacing him. I mean, there would be a good time, because that's almost what they did with, because it's getting expensive again, I guess, for that show. BBC is not a very high-budgeted station. They can't afford to make these shows like Doctor Who, which every week it's very costly, even though the seasons are pretty short. They're not as long as they used to be. Now, technically, each season might only had a handful of episodes, but within those episodes, because I'm trying to think, a handful of episodes, because they were in parts, and those parts could last months. So that being said, yeah, I just actually shut down one of my stories. Can't hurt, I guess. I don't know. So, I'm just not as enthusiastic about this stuff as I was years ago. I still watch it because it was just something I grew up with since I was a child, Doctor Who. So again, it's kind of depressing. I mean, what do you call it? Peter Capaldi does a good job, but it's just, and he never wears, like, he's always wearing like something other than his costume, which is a little depressing too. Because I mean, years ago, Tom Baker always fought tooth and nail about wearing a costume, but he ended up doing it in some type of costume, even though he might have made small alterations. He made major alterations to the scripts, but minor alterations. You knew what the Doctor was going to look like. Well, Peter Capaldi just changes his whole outfit, like he's coming in from home, and like a sweater and a hood sweater, things like that. And it's like, or sweatshirt, hooded sweatshirt. Yeah, Tom Baker would never do that kind of stuff. I mean, from day one, he was too comfortable with the role, way too much, I think. He's a good actor, don't get me wrong. He's just too laxed on the character, playing a character, I think, and in that way, the dress attire. So that's another thing that's a little bit down. I mean, even Sylvester McCoy, as much as I hate him, he did wear his costume like for every episode. I mean, it's like little minor things, but it just adds to the fact that it's not as good as it used to be. And just the campiness is going back, reminding me of the bad old days with Sylvester McCoy. I hated those episodes. I mean, again, they had like this 4-track, almost, it sounded that bad, like a 4-track or some type of 80s, with like the clap machine or something, like some music. It sounds like it's, if you listen to old disco music, it sounds like bad disco, literally bad disco music in the background of a clapping machine or something for Sylvester McCoy. And they're not that far off from that right now. They're actually in that direction, and that's what canned the show originally. So I'm surprised it lasted 9 years so far. So I'm not going to complain about that, because the only way for Doctor Who to maybe possibly get back to its grassroots is to, eventually get another producer, actor, writers that remember the old storyline and kind of keep it that way. Because that's one thing I can say with Star Trek. They kept it very low key when they made Generations and other different series of Star Trek. They didn't make it look like some fancy 45-minute MTV, infomercial or MTV video, music video. But Doctor Who kind of does that. And that's the only thing I was disappointed when it came back. I did like Christopher Eccleston a lot for some reason, even though he did play it way off from the way it was meant to be played, which was good, which was fine. And I actually did like David Tennant a lot. But the other ones, it's just like 45 minutes every week, a 45-minute music video. And I don't like that at all. So, so there was that. I'm glad about the Star Wars thing. I've been waiting, and I would have waited longer if I knew this was going to happen of the original releases of the films. I thought this, may have happened because of, basically now that Disney owns the rights and Lucas doesn't own them anymore. So, anyway, why I mentioned this before and I did not go into it. I actually played the Psycho theme in the beginning of my show tonight because my parents and our tickets finally came up for us to go see the original Anthony Perkins in the movie Psycho. Now, that was really cool to see it on the big screen. I've seen it a million times. Now, I didn't realize the original movie was 2 hours. Actually, wait a minute. Yeah, it was longer because it was exactly 2 hours. So there was some extra footage in the one they showed tonight because it says 1 hour and 49 minutes. Well, there's a 10-minute difference, but there was a scene in the beginning I never remember seeing before. And I think I was correct by saying that I don't recognize that because it was 10 minutes longer than originally intended, and they didn't show any trailers whatsoever. They went right into the movie. So I'm going to have to mention it to my parents now. Anyway, a little trivia for people who did not know this, because I didn't know this, but what do you call it? Alfred Hitchcock's daughter actually had a scene in the Psycho movie. Now, she played the woman who was a nerdy-looking woman with glasses, and I'm trying to look for her character name. Her name was Patricia Hitchcock. She played the character as Pat Hitchcock, Caroline. She was the woman in the office that's sitting at the desk when Norma Bates comes, or not Norma Bates, I'm sorry. Janet Leigh comes in as Marion Crane late for work, and the new client comes in who drops $40,000 off for a house for his daughter's wedding, which obviously, steals Janet Leigh. So anyway, there was a woman in the office who said, "Oh yeah, the new client, this older guy who had he was supposed to be a millionaire who just threw money around like it was nothing." That character, this woman sitting behind a desk said, "Oh, he didn't even give me the time of day. He must have seen my wedding ring. That's why he hit on you," meaning Janet Leigh, instead of her, who was this character called named Caroline, who was actually Pat Hitchcock. It was Alfred Hitchcock's daughter. So she was born in 1928 in Kensington, London, and I thought they said she's like 87 now. I'm trying to see if she's still alive. I thought she was, or she passed away. I'm not sure now. But she actually, he gave a cameo to his daughter to be in the movie of Psycho. So that movie almost was never done because they said that the movie company producers didn't want that film to be produced. They tried to sabotage the film to try to turn Hitchcock off from doing the movie. So, but instead he was so wanting to do this film that he actually paid for most of the film out of his own expense. Like he paid for the movie himself. I want to see what her bio is. Yeah, born July 7th, 1928. This is Pat Hitchcock. And she is now 87, so I think she may still be alive. But yeah, her dad put her in the film, and it was a small part was said before the movie started. They mentioned about this fact because I think it was from TMZ or something. You know, the channel that shows all those classic movies and stuff. They mentioned that fact. But they said she had such a small part, but I think the part was pretty nice size. I mean, it wasn't real small. You know, they gave her enough dialogue to, you know, make you recognize that, hey, this is a real character. This is not, you know, yeah, it was a couple minutes, but you could tell it was more there than just a few seconds. So that was pretty cool to hear. I mean, I have a high definition version of that movie. Yeah, so, but it was nice to see it on the big screen again. By the way, I forgot, I should mention this next. I just saw this on I was bleeding through my mix. DailyMail.com, beloved author Jackie Collins, she passed away, on the 19th, I believe. So yeah, she just passed away the other day. Over the weekend, like Saturday. Says Jackie Collins only told older sister Joan 2 weeks before she died that she had been battling breast cancer for 6 years because she didn't want to burden her sister. So yeah, Jackie Collins. Now I told my mother this yesterday, and she said, "Oh yeah, she was on Dynasty." No, that's Joan Collins. So it's Joan Collins' sister, Jackie Collins, had passed away. So her sister was only 77, so she didn't want to like upset her older sister, and she never mention anything of the fact that she, you know, had cancer, breast cancer. So she had just passed away just the other day. So that's a shame. Well, you know, she's going to definitely be missed. You know, the Collins sisters were obviously both pretty well known. Joan Collins more so, but I would say both were. Yeah, I'm trying to look through my mix to see if there's anything. This might have been the story I shut down. This is on the Daily Mail. I'm going to at least keep with the Daily Mail for now and get this out of the way. It's this picture and videos, this woman in lycra spandex and stuff. I don't know what it is. Everybody's women, all these women wear workout outfits all the time, and she's got a little bit on the chunky side. But this woman deliberately with her body was trying to save a spot, you know, so nobody would take this parking spot. And this was in Denver, Colorado. So she got in a fight with an SUV, and she told this person, "You can't park here. I'm saving this spot." This lady in these workout pants and stuff. So it seemed like somebody kind of backed her up because the SUV was just going to run her over, apparently. You know, because, you know, you can't save a spot with your body, apparently. I don't know. That's what it's saying. Woman versus SUV. Parking space hogger tries blocking the vehicle with her body to save the spot, and then she wins the standoff. The woman used her body to save an empty parking spot in Denver, Colorado. SUV was attempting to back into the spot, and the woman got in the way. The SUV did push her back a bit, but then drove off and parked elsewhere. Incident occurred even though there was multiple-story parking garages nearby. There was a multi-story garage nearby. So the person was also, as much as she was just being stupid, the person with the SUV was just trying to be a prick. And if you look at the spot looked awfully small, too. I don't even think that SUV would have fit in there. Again, you can see it out in the Daily Mail, just in case you want to read the rest. I'm just reading the highlights, the bullet points, as Rush would say. If you want to see some pretty, I think she's pretty sexy. This was on the Daily Mail, too. I'm keeping this over for my own personal use. Because tonight was Emmy Awards, and I actually I don't like what she stands for, was, I can't remember her name. She won one Emmy tonight, though. This is not the woman I was going to mention. I got her, it's not important. If I find the other woman's name, but this one woman, she's not bad looking at all. She's 45. They're making a big fuss out of it tonight on the Daily Mail already. Standing out in Citron. I don't even know who she is. She just looks pretty hot, in my opinion. Panba Lakshmi, 45, almost spilled out of her strapless dress as she shows off her curves to the Emmy Awards, at the Emmy Awards. Yeah, so the dress apparently is so tight that she's like popping out everywhere, literally. You can tell because they took a lot of pictures. The weird thing is I felt bad. She's a very attractive lady, but she's also got a big scar on her one arm that's noticeable too. So, and she's got a big diamond ring on her hand. But yeah, she's not bad looking at all. But yeah, they're making a big fuss that her dress was way too tight. Oh, yeah, the one I like it's Amy Schumer. I don't know what it is. She's like a, what do you call it, a big bone girl, whatever you want to call her, and she doesn't hide the fact she likes to eat. But I think in some ways, weird ways, she's kind of attractive. And again, I'm not going by her politics. That's the last thing on my mind with her. Just simply because I probably don't agree. Oh, I forgot I left this out. There was an article in Radio Times on the Peter Catoli story I was telling you about, which you will be able to find on radiotimes.com again, and it discusses what I was mentioning. But I kind of went off on a large segment already on that show. I honestly didn't think it was completely bad, but it's not exactly like the original episodes where I'll go back and want to watch them a million times. Maybe once or twice, but I think I'll get tired of that even pretty quickly. On the Doctor Who from last, well, actually, now I have to say 2 days, because now it's officially Monday morning. I'll still say last night either way. Another funny, well, not funny story. I just don't understand these stories with these people, though. This was from unilad.co.uk. A friend sent this to me. Thank you, Todd Thomas. Nightclub closed after a woman performs public sex act on man for a free drink. This was on September 20th. It says a popular nightclub has been forced to close after a woman again was caught on camera, because there's a video of it too, giving a teenager oral sex in a bid to get a free drink. So I don't understand this. And yeah, there's a video for this one too, by the way. They kind of blur it out. And you know what? And then I'm looked at, again, 6 degrees. I've said this many times, 6 degrees to Walter in Toronto. Well, here's one of them. Somehow it'll end up being placed to blame back on me somehow, some way, somehow. There's a story on Jackie Collins, yeah. Oh, this was pretty weird. You have to look at the pictures. These things are really scary looking. Different type of story, different direction. Eveningcompass.com. I found this myself. Yes, it is called Evening Compass. And it says hornets 4 times the size of wasp on deadly rampage. And it shows the pictures of these hornets. They are bigger. There's 4 in this guy's hands, but they're going the length of the guy's hands, and they're bigger than the guy's hand. These hornets, and they're deadly. Like, they will actually kill a person. It says Asian hornets, about 4 times the size of a regular wasp. The same type blamed for killing 6 people in France in the last year, have touched down in Britain and began terrorizing local honeybee populations. The species is the largest wasp in the world, and its venom contains 8 kinds of chemicals. Swarms can take out a bee colony in just a few minutes. Express reported. It says they hit up to 3 inches in size and will, when provoke, attack people. Just this past year, 6 in France were killed by Asian hornet stings. Express reported. It says the hornets eat other insects, particularly those of bees and wasp families, and can hit flying speeds of 25 miles an hour. That's pretty scary. And they can travel up to 60 miles at a time. One British homeowner, Christy Everard, 25, said she found one in her westbound bedroom. That's pretty scary. I could hear it before I could see it, this woman states. It sounded like a small plane going over the house. I went into a bedroom, and there it was. It was absolutely huge and about 4 times the size of a wasp. So you know what the scary thing about that is? It reminds me, there was that old movie, like a horror movie. It was a really bad B horror movie from the 70s, where they actually do have these, they looked really bad, but these things are for real. Like these oversized hornets and, or wasp. Yeah, it was called wasp, I think. And it was like that whole thing, I guess, food for the gods kind of deal. That scared up a lot of people of, basically through, our toxic waste. That's what Food for the Gods was about, like toxic waste turning, nature against us, like turning nature into monsters of all types and, of small insects, rodents, and everything else into supersized creatures. So there's this movie called Wasp, I think, and these hornets kind of remind me of that. They're not that big, but they're still not very small either. So, yeah. Sorry about that. Some funny stuff I'm looking at while I'm trying to do a show. But yeah, that was, again, it was on Compass, Evening Compass, if you want to look at they're very frightful looking. I think a friend sent me this one, so thank you, Todd. I'm pretty sure. TMZ.com. Papa John's Confederate flag driver forced to remove plate. It says plates. The Papa John's delivery guy who sported a Confederate flag decal plate on his basically the front of his car had been forced by the company to remove it or lose his job. We were told the driver, who works at the local North Carolina, is infamous around town for his plates, and locals have been very upset. We've told customers, wow, sorry about that. We're told customers have even taken to Yelp to voice their complaints. Things got so serious, we were told corporate got involved and the employee was forced to remove the plates. It says the rep of Papa John's tells TMZ, "We do not condone these types of actions. We have taken quick and decisive disciplinary actions against the team member involved. At this point, the pizza joint says the guy is still at his job, or has his job. As for the pizza, it's still delicious." So they didn't fire him. They just told him, if you want to work here, you really need to remove that. So here's some story. I just saw it now. I'm going to have to read it. It says, 19-inch penis man, prison guards tormented me. They called me Anaconda. That's on TMZ, by the way. This one I did not bookmark on my Facebook page, but it is on TMZ, and it says this man with a 19-inch penis was tormented for his large private part. Yeah, it was tormented by U.S. prison guards because of his enormous penis. It says a felon who served time in Mississippi pen for entering the U.S. illegally. The penalty was especially harsh because he had been convicted of a felony forgery, felony forgery years before in the U.S. During his stay between 2003 and 2011, this man filed a lawsuit claiming mistreatment. He says that in a handwritten document, guards treated him like a freak, demanding he take pics. They were trying to take pics of his 19-inch penis, which they cruelly nicknamed Anaconda. How could a man have a 19-inch penis? And by the way, FYI, he's not an African American. I got to give that shock look. I wish I could do that on the monitor. No, he's from Mexico. His name was Roberto. The man has a 19-inch penis. So, I'm sorry, but something that large, wouldn't you think he would kind of, if he even got it erect, the man would just pass out from no blood in the rest of his body except in that one spot? I mean, I'm not even trying to be sarcastic. I'm not even trying to make fun of it, but it would make sense that the man would just pass out. So, I don't know. What do I know anyway? Sorry, I got distracted again. If you want to see, there's some woman named Drea Michael. Actually, it looks like Michelle. Drea Michelle, desert commando who needs bottoms. Says she got everyone hooked into the greatest game of hide in, please don't seek ever. She's really hot looking too. This woman, she's some story on TMZ. I don't know how else to put it. It's got pictures of her in this. I don't know what her nationality is. She has like a blue wig on in this thing, and she's got this bikini on. She's got a nice killer body, by the way. I'm not even joking. It's definitely it says that she, in the pictures, she's not getting back to nature, and instead she's just wearing a super micro swimwear. Not that anybody's complaining. Yeah, and she's really, really hot. That's why I was kind of curious what her nationality was. Not that it's important, because trust me, when you see her, you won't care either. I'm doing a lot of bums tonight, ain't I? I always do, so what's any different than any other night? There I go again. Sorry, I'm excited about this woman now. There's a story on Breitbart that was kind of interesting. I'm not going to sabotage the whole thing, but it says Sarah Palin cleans Obama's clock on Muslim teen's sketchy device. So I guess the whole gist of it was, I'll read a little bit of it, was this kid brought a clock, supposedly, to the White House, and it looked very suspicious, almost like a bomb. But yet Obama, will scrutinize Palin or other people. Let me just read a little bit of it at least. So please forgive me if I do screw up this story. And it was on the 19th. It was released on Breitbart. Count Sarah Palin among the sane who clearly doesn't think a clock or school supplies should look like an explosive device. The former Alaska governor has weighed in on the story of a teen in Texas who suddenly has a White House invitation. Palin posted on Facebook, I guess Mohammed's pencil box is cooler than the Palin kids. The post includes a link to Bristol Palin's take on the story, and then some strong words from Sarah Palin herself regarding the matter. It says, Governor Palin wrote, "It doesn't look like a pencil box to me." So this kid was allowed to go to the White House with something that looked very suspicious. And I guess mentioned in the kid was named Mohammed. Palin provided a link to her daughter's blog in which Bristol blasted President Obama for getting involved in this thing at all. "This is the kind of stuff Obama needs to stay out of," said Bristol Palin. It's quoted by saying, "This encourages more racial strife that's already going on with the Black Lives Matter crowd and encourages victimhood. Now, I've said that before, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut on this whole, minorities being victimized. I did a whole show on that. The police made a mistake clearly, but why put more people against them? Why egg it on? Childish games like this from our president have divided our country even more today than when he was elected. And it says clearly, Bristol's mother agrees. Sarah Palin ripped apart the whole clock flap, including actual facts in her post and retrospect of Obama's record of button-in. Talk about dangers of a reactionary/biased media. The first report on this potential bomb inhibitor were so fishy to begin with. Palin said friends considered the kids disciplined and or kicked out of school for bringing squirt guns to school or taking bites out of a Pop-Tart until it resembles basically something politically incorrect, like a gun. Or a student out deer hunting with his dad early one morning who forgot he had a box of ammo in the trunk when he parked in the school's lot later that day. So it's just a double standard, I guess, is what they're trying to state. Kids humiliated and intimidated for innocent actions like those are real examples, often mark the rest of their lives and made to feel really rotten. Whereas this person, Amit Mohammed, and individually obstinate. I'm sorry about that. Answer student bringing in a homemade clock that obviously could have been seen by conscientious teachers as a dangerous wired up bomb looking contraband. Teachers who are told if you see anything or see something, say something. Get invited to the White House. I knew I was going to really bomb this story, so I really, once again, I apologize. But yeah, this is a double standard where what they're trying to say, what Palin and her daughter, I'm sorry about that, Mrs. Palin. But here, Obama will scrutinize kids for making, it's when you were a kid, you would draw stuff like that. Draw pictures of cowboys and Indians or, I'm just hypothetically speaking, or of cops and robbers. But now if you do that stuff, you're going to get reprimanded. You're going to get sent home. And there was a kid who got sent home for just eating a Pop-Tart and making it in the shape of a gun. They were just like goofing off. But yet here is this kid whose name is Mohammed, and he brings what looks like to most normal people like a homemade bomb, but that's okay because it was only a clock. And he overlooks the fact that this kid named Mohammed could have brought a weapon into the White House. That was okay, but it's not okay for children to even remotely mention or to give any, indication of a weapon. Anything that looks remotely like a weapon, even though it may not be, is automatically grounds for incrimination and being sent home from school. So, yeah, I don't know why. I think other people have said this. I'm not afraid to say it. But why hasn't this man have been, I know why. But why hasn't President Obama been impeached yet? Or, anybody take a crack pot at him? Because the stuff he does clearly calls for some type of change, more so of getting him out of that office. Because the man, one thing, he's very dangerous. And he gets away with everything. So, and I don't know how he does it. So, minus that everybody is too afraid to speak up against a man because they're afraid if they do, they will be considered racist or, basically that's the best way. I can't even use the word sexist or anything else. But, yeah, definitely they automatically put him down as being the person who would, doesn't matter who it is, but I'm talking like media and just general public. Everybody's afraid to speak up against this man, even though he has successfully for the last 7 years, Barack Hussein Obama has destroyed our country. And like, again, everybody's just way too afraid to make note of this. They're petrified. I may almost have to take a break. I'm like losing my, I'm thirsty. So, so I did really sabotage that story, but I apologize. But yet, I already had taken it down, but I could probably find it again. No. Alrighty. I thought I could kind of dig it up again. No puns intended. Oh, that was another thing real quick. For people who are interested, next month comes out the Steve Jobs movie. I'm actually psyched about that. And I'm going to have to see if I have enough time left because for one day only on October 21st, October 21st comes out Back to the Future 2 in the big screen in Oaks around our house. Now, unfortunately, that's a Wednesday night, I believe. And the problem with that is I think I might have used up all my vacation and personal time at this point. Now, that would be one movie I would absolutely love to see in the big screen. I just don't know if I have any time left. And by the way, the story that I sabotaged on Sarah Palin is on BrettBart.com. You can actually get really good stories off of there. So just to let you know, Brett Bart always has cool stuff to read. And it's, it's not, I like to think of it, it's not directed towards one side, not the left side at least. Just to give you a heads up on that. So just to give you a heads up. There was a story too. Thank you, Todd. It was on Bro Bible. It's actually really funny. You can't really hear what happened, but it says MMA fighter farts in opponent's face, causes him to vomit all over the mat. So this guy pins this other guy down. These two guys that are I guess they're like wrestlers. It looks like a wrestling match. And the one guy farts in the other guy's face, and the guy just can't breathe, so he ends up vomiting. The one who gets, the other guy farting in his face. And it's just a small thing. You can see the video on BroBible.com again. Absolutely brutal submission move here from the 2014 NAGA Vegas Grappling Championship, NAGA, Vegas Grappling Championship. While two fighters were grappling to get locked, the one dude left one fly causes his opponent to puke all over the mat. The loser taps out before the foul odor of the other dude's ass causes him to vomit everywhere. It says it's nasty, so nasty, but champ move to clean up your own puke with a paper towel, bro. So yeah, this guy actually, they're trying to win it looks like to me again like some sort of wrestling match, but the one guy actually farts another guy's face, and and it stung so bad the guy who got farted on, he literally puked. Which I probably don't know if I would go that far. It must have smelled pretty bad from the get sick. And Todd sent me this one too. It was Unilad, and it was a woman. She had a big cyst on her head, and they show how they pop it. They literally pop it. Now, the thing I would be concerned about, not even that it would be gross. It really doesn't bother me. It's the fact that don't you have to worry, especially on your head, If she had and it's huge. It's like the size of a golf ball. I'm not even kidding. Don't you have to worry about it being cancerous? That would be my concern. Anyway, it's titled Nope. 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 Woman gets giant cyst on her head popped on live TV. Again, my concern is this poor woman. That could actually, when you have to worry about cancer, was it cancers or whatever? Did they have to, do a test on what they squeezed out of her back of her head? A new video shows the sickening moment where a woman had a massive cyst on her head popped in front of a live TV audience. The unnamed woman was a guest on U.S. medical TV show The Doctors, and after having the cyst for 20 years, she allowed the medics to squeeze the large pink lump on her head in front of somewhat horrified audiences. Again, that should have been removed earlier because it could be cancers, I would assume. The lump, which she affectionately named Arthur, formed when she fell ill more than 2 decades ago. And trust us, the footage isn't for the faint at heart. Definitely don't watch this if you're sitting down for dinner. Why did they make a story out of this? I'm not going to read. Well, I'm going to read bits and pieces. Yeah, they said it was the size of an egg and it cracks like one too. The woman decided to take the extreme step as the cyst had grown out of control in the last 2 years, and it was making her feel extremely insecure. Now, I'm sure this woman was married and had kids or has a boyfriend, because trust me, nothing ever stops a guy from asking a woman out, no matter how hideous or disfigured a woman is. I'm not trying to be offensive, because I feel bad for this lady. The procedure was performed by Dr. Sandra Lee, who refers to herself as the Dr. Pimple Popper because of course, she does. She used a sharp instrument to pierce the surface of the cyst before squeezing out the contents, confirming as she did so that the cyst was not life-threatening. So that part's good. I'm glad to hear that. And Dr. Lee actually seemed thrilled about the whole thing, saying, "This is going to be fun. I'm excited about it a lot. Each to their own, we guess." In fact, she really seemed to reveal, grossing out the already horrified audience, pointing out that the goo coming out was wet scalp skin. And she said, "People think it's cheesy. Please stop." So it was filled with like massive gooey skin, I guess, scalp skin. Because, dead skin cells usually drop off, but they actually filled this bubble on this woman's head. So, so I knocked out 2 stories there. Trying to see if there's anything else. I mean, I got some goofy stuff, but not anything worth reading. If anybody, Randolph Mantooth, yeah, that's his last name. Happy birthday. He was on this TV show from back in the 70s. I think it was the 70s. It was called Emergency. It's on MeTV, but they said it was his birthday actually yesterday. 2 days ago, so I'm a little bit behind. Because I could say yesterday if I got the story up a little bit quicker, but I did not. This story must have been the one I shut down. This is kind of weird. A friend sent to me, thank you again, Todd Thomas. Channel 6 ABC Action News. Man finds $1,300 in Domino's wing box. A Berkeley man returned a wad of cash accidentally delivered with his Domino's order. Now the pizza chain is repaying him with a year's worth of free pizzas. So they must have had the money roll, I guess, in the box somehow. Got in with the pizza. So the man was nice enough. I don't think, honestly, I'll just tell you now, I don't think I could return that kind of money. Because, it's cash. You can't track it, really. I probably would have kept it. I'm just being honest. So it says, yeah, Berkeley, California. A California man returned a wad of cash accidentally delivered with his Domino's order. Now the pizza chain is really, yeah, I told you that. Years worth of free pizza pies. Mike Vegas says he ordered a pizza and some wings from Domino's on Friday. He ate just one slice of the pizza and did not touch the wings, which he put away in the fridge. Later, he pulled out the wings box, only to find $1,300 inside. It turns out the delivery driver had been on his way to the bank in Vegas, and Vegas, not Vegas, but this is this guy's last name's house, was the last stop. He put the cash in the wing box for safety. Lucky for him, Vegas decided to give it back. Now, that's pretty funny. You know, there's a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek humor thing. The man's last name is Vegas, and Vegas gives cash back. You know, you go to Vegas, you lose money. Sorry, that was a bad joke. I wanted to keep it, believe me, but I can't do it, Vegas said. The delivery driver was very grateful to Vegas, saying that that honest people are hard to find these days. Yeah, because you know it's kind of funny. Around our house, they close everything really early. Even like there's a diner that's always open around our house. It's called the Trooper Diner. They now close it early, and my guess is it's not only just because of lost business. It's probably because they got robbed, is my guess. The delivery driver was very grateful to Vegas, saying that honest people are hard to find nowadays. The chain is offering Vegas free pizzas for 1 year and offer Vegas plans to take advantage of. I'd get sick of pizza after all, I'm telling you. Vegas said his first job was a delivery pizza for Pizza Hut when he was just 16 years old, so he really felt for the driver. I guess the driver had to pay it back if he would have lost it. They would have fired him probably also. So maybe it was good. Again, I just can't be. I mean, maybe I'm just saying that, and I would give the money back, but I don't know. I'm waiting for this to open. Daily Mail UK. It was a true life story that's going to be made into a film now, and it's pretty horrific what's happening. It's titled "It's Not Just a Movie." It was left for dead on Everest. The bone-chilling true story behind the epic new film told by a hero who paid a terrible price for his survival. Now, these are people who climbed and got frostbite. It says 12 climbers died in a terrifying blizzard on Everest on May 10th, 1996. Beck Weathers escaped but has been permanently scarred by frostbite. In the new movie Everest, the American climber is played by Josh Brolin. Here he tells how he defied nature, his own demons, and death itself. Now they show pictures of this guy. I guess it's a real guy, and I think he lost his hands. Looks like his nose and his cheek, because they're all black, his hands and his stuff. The man got really bad frostbite, the real guy. It is one of the darkest tragedies in mountaineering history. The death of 12 climbers in a terrifying blizzard near the summit of Everest in May 1996. American doctor Beck Weathers was twice left for dead but survived thanks to a vision of the family life he nearly lost. Now the disaster has been turned into a film starring Josh Brolin as Weathers and co-starring Keira Knightley, Jake, I can't pronounce that name, and several other big Hollywood stars. Here Weathers tells how he defied nature, his own demons, and the death itself. And scroll down, there's a video. So there's a little bit more to the story. I can't go too far before I destroy anything. This poor man, his whole face actually suffered some damage from, from the frostbite. So he's a very lucky man to be even just alive. I guess he's just happy for his life. This was pretty funny. I did put this on my Facebook, really, because I'm a big Charlie Brown. You know, I grew up when I was a kid, like 5 years old. I would be, 5 or 8 years old. I was always like buying these Snoopy books. They call them the penis books. Not penis, but peanuts books. Charlie Brown, Snoopy, Linus, Lucy. So there was this cartoon with Linus and Charlie Brown's sister in the pumpkin patch for the Great Pumpkin, and it says it's a cartoon, but it's with Pumpkinhead in the background, and it says, and then the Great Pumpkin rises from the pumpkin patch, and it's a picture of I think it's Lucy, right? Linus and Lucy, not Lucy. What was Charlie Brown's? Sally, I think it was, right? I have to look that up now. Yep, it was Sally Brown. So anyway, there's a picture of Linus and Sally, in the pumpkin patch, but then Pumpkinhead is the one thing that rises from the pumpkin patch. So I thought that was pretty funny, because I'm a big, Charlie Brown fan, so when I saw that. Oh, I missed this story almost. Thank you, Todd Thomas. PIX11.com. Man wearing Nicki Minaj shirt stalked woman, infant on train while touching himself. And it just shut down. Cops say. Midtown Manhattan, police are searching for a man they said fondled himself while following a mother and her infant daughter on a subway in Midtown. The incident happened on Friday just before 11 a.m. in the vicinity of 53rd Street and 7th Avenue. The mother, 21, and the 6-month-year-old daughter were riding on the northbound D train when the suspect exposed himself and then began touching himself. And 6 degrees to Walter again, because it was me. Not really. When the mother moved to another area of the train, the suspect followed them while still exposing himself. Police say the suspect tried looking up the woman's skirt and kept commenting on how beautiful her daughter was. He also asked several times what the daughter's name was. The woman was able to snap a picture of the suspect before getting off the train and calling police. The suspect, in his 50s, 5'10", with gray hair and a goatee. He was also wearing a Nicki Minaj t-shirt. Any information on this, submit tips to police by calling Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577-TIPS or 8477, or just visiting the NYPCrimestoppers.com or texting. You can text also at 274-637 crimes, then enter tip 577. All calls remain anonymous. So that's pretty cool if you were up in New York on that day of the 19th. So just making sure I didn't miss anything. Because every time I shut down, I will find something else. Oh, this was really cool. It's just a photo, though, and I did miss the story. I shared the picture, but it was from somebody else. Doctor Who and a TARDIS photo. But here's the thing. The TARDIS is actually Optimus Prime. So, yeah, it's the Optimus Prime made up to look like a TARDIS. So, what Optimus Prime looks like. Well, it's blue, and Optimus Prime is blue with the TARDIS slogans all over it. So it's, an Optimus Prime TARDIS. It's pretty funny. The story I did miss was on Daily Mail. Biological dad reveals tragic baby doe. Bella was convicted in an Occupy Boston tent, and then her addict mom wouldn't hurt her, as police reveal 3-year-old was beaten to death and her body was stuffed in a refrigerator. Yeah, so another loser story again. Mother claims boyfriend punched baby Bella Bond in stomach until she died. Rachel Bond, 40, the mother of Bella Bond, who became known as Baby Doe, told investigators her boyfriend Michael McCarthy, 35, punched a girl in the stomach, basically to death. The bullet points say Rachel Bond, 40, of Mattapan, told investigators 35-year-old Michael McCarthy once again punched Bella in the stomach until the body went lifeless. She alleges her boyfriend, though her 2-year-old daughter, thought her 2-year-old daughter, who had become known as Baby Doe, was possessed. On Friday, authorities identified Baby Doe as Bella Nava Amaraso Bond, the daughter of Bond and Joseph Amaraso. Bella was just shy of 3 years old when her body was found on Deer Island in Winthrop by a woman walking a dog on June 25th. Bond and her boyfriend were since then been arrested in connection to her death on Friday, and McCarthy now faces murder charges. The girl's father said he does not believe Bond has anything to do with their daughter's death, though. Well, it doesn't really matter because the daughter is dead, and if it was in her custody and she was at one of these, what do you call it? Like similar to Occupy Wall Street things. I hate to tell you, yeah, she's just as responsible as he is. Because she had the child in her custody. So I'm sorry. I can't take any blame off of her. I think she should go get penalized for that too. Anyway, I think most other stories were from the other day. I really don't have much more. And it is really warming up in my room, so I'm just going to try to call this quits for tonight. Oh, you know what? I didn't read this. I'd like to leave on a lighter note. This is on, I never even heard of this, OAN, One America News Network.com. Trump says he would turn down U.S. presidential salary if elected. That's pretty impressive. The man obviously doesn't want any more money. He just wants to fix things, and that's going to actually work in his favor. I'm sorry. Washington, Rutgers, billionaire U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump said on Thursday he does not want the $400,000 annual salary that comes with the White House job and would turn it down if elected. I think he would, too. Trump, the frontrunner for the Republican nominee in 2016 race, despite having no political experience, was asked at a town hall-style meeting in Rochester, New Hampshire, if, as president, he would roll back generous pensions and health care benefits given to members of Congress. The first thing I'm going to do is to, quote unquote, the first thing I'm going to do is to tell you that if I'm elected president, I'm accepting no salary, okay? Trump said that it's no big deal for me. Trump, who built his fortune as a developer, real estate mongrel, and reality TV personality, was listed on Thursday at number 405 on Forbes magazine list of the world's billionaires, with a fortune of $4.1 billion. Shortly after announcing his candidacy in June, Trump said his net worth was more than $10 billion. Could I have a little bit? Herbert Hoover, who made millions of dollars in the mining before becoming president in 1929, and John F. Kennedy, who came from a wealthy family and became president in 1961, both dominated their presidential salaries. Both donated their presidential salaries to charities. So, see, that's really impressive. I didn't know that. That Herbert Hoover and JFK actually donated their money to charity. This story corrects the years Hoover took office in fifth paragraph, 1929 instead of 1921. So there was something about the dates being mixed up. But that doesn't matter. They actually did the job for free. free, as my one friend always jokes about, and his brother. So, you know what? That's a good point to leave off. So, folks, I'm going to call this quits for this Monday morning or Sunday night for me. So, everyone, I hope you enjoyed my show, even the fallacies and the blurbs, and I will try to be back during the week when I can. So, have a good morning. This is iWalter, and I'm signing off.